when I was a principal, I would make sure that I got rid of any bad apple as harsh as it could be, because if I leave those bad apples in the bushel, it will rotten the rest of the apples. Never forget, guy came in to my office, and I think that he had a gun. He sat outside. That's what it was. Yeah, he would come in, put his guns in the bushes, and whatever. So they found the gun. They brought him into my office, and I'm sitting there. And he comes in with, of course, the guidance counselor. She was a lady and all emotionally attached and stuff like that. She's invested. She's all about, let's make this, and give this person more choices and figure out how we can maybe. I was exhausted when it came down to dealing with this kid. Now, I'm all about trying to help you if I can see you can be helped. But when I discern you're abusing my kindness, my grace, my suggestions and things like that, I gotta cut you. I gotta cut you deep. So he comes in and he sits down, and I say, hey man, sign these papers. What's this? I'm expelling you. What? Why? For what? What do you mean for what? You had a gun outside in the bushes. Well, man, it's dangerous when I walk home and stuff, man. I said, that ain't got nothing to do with me. You brought a weapon on our property. I said, so you got to go. Now, of course, the guidance counselor sitting there. She gets all busted up. She's looking at me like, don't do it to him. I mean, give him more. I said, Miss Tony, if you can't handle this, I'm going to need you to go ahead and step out, please. And this guy went in to why if I do this, I'm going to ruin his life. He's like, man, if you kick me out, man, my probation says that if I get kicked out, I got to go back to jail. I said, I know. You're going to let me go to jail? Absolutely. No, you're going to let yourself go to jail by bringing this weapon onto the property. Man, come on, man, please, man. Now he's hitting with the pleas. He's concerned. He wants mercy. And I sat up and I said, remember you pulled the fire alarm? Yeah. Okay. What happened? You let me back. Okay. Remember you was fighting? Yeah. What happened? Instead of expelling me, you just suspended me for a couple weeks. Yeah. And now you're here again. Okay. So what do you think I should do? You probably should expel me. Absolutely. Here, sign the papers. Boom. Gone. Went right back to jail. I don't know what happened to him. Didn't have to lose a wink of sleep at all, because I let him know that if I sit back and I tolerate this, I send a bad message, first of all, to every other kid in the school. That's right. Now I'm setting them up for failure. Now I'm about to set them up to be sorry. When they see me let you get away with stuff, and now they're saying, oh, shoot, well, maybe I should start doing stuff like that. Or allowing you to go back into the classroom and tank the rest of them. So I had to deal with this person very aggressively. I didn't make excuses for him. I didn't say it because of slavery, because of Black Lives Matter, because of this and nope. But this guy will. This guy who claims he loves black people and everybody else is attacking him is really allowing black people to be sorry.
On a certain level, because he's not trying to get at the underlying root causes. He's not looking at examples.
No, you're not trying to get at the underlying root causes. The underlying root causes is fathers not being in those cribs, okay? Incentives for the household to not have an authoritative figure in the household. And condensing all of these folks into certain areas that breeds thinking and traps them in a systematic way of life and thinking. And then Democrats who rule those cities encourage and allow them to act a fool by not punishing them. Yeah, there you go. You don't want to punish your potential future voters and stuff like that y'all got trapped in those areas and stuff like that. And definitely don't go to a different school. Don't you take yourself to another different school or anything like that, because you might get smart enough to realize that the Democrats are the source of your problems. Yeah, you want to know what the source? Yeah, you don't want to get to the source. You are the source. This guy right here who makes excuses for him and covers for Democrats and their bad policies and the way they govern, you do that. That's what you do. Yeah, you get paid off of the backs of blacks. That's what you do, Mr. Sellout Man. Claiming you're looking out for them. You love it when black folks become victims because they're acting a fool and police officers have to deal with them harshly because then you get paid. Unbelievable, this bum. Let me at him.
That of how to address rising crime rates that doesn't require a form of policing that leads to increased incarcerality and the like.
You hear this fool? Yeah. I wish he lived in an all inner city, rough black area. And that's what they were telling him. Yeah, I know they broke in your house 3 times this month. And I know they stole your car. And then, of course, they mugged you. And then that one time they beat you up. But we want to see about making sure that they're not incarcerated. And here's a counselor. So we're going to go ahead and head back to the station. We're going to leave this counselor right here to talk to you. How many times has it been since you've called us? 12? Okay, good. At some point, though, we'll finally arrest these people, or they'll just simply grow out of it. Yeah, that's right. They're going to grow out of their criminal behavior. Yeah, just like, grow out of pimples and things like that. No, they're not going to grow out of it. In fact, they'll probably grow into an adult life of crime. See, that's what prevents or at least discourages them from growing up to become adult criminals, is when you check them and make them fearful of committing crimes when they're younger. But not this guy. He's going to blame all the sources besides, the things that are the real sources. Like Trump coming in and saying, now y'all allowed this to have to come out, pour it out into the streets. It done came all the way to my office. I got to deal with it. And I'm the bad guy, right?
Let's look at what's going on in Baltimore. Let's look at what's happening actually in places like Baltimore and Chicago, right? So part of what we have to do is to understand. And Oakland. We have to understand this, Chris, within the context of Donald Trump's racial politics.
Oh, there it is. This guy. He will be okay with these neighborhoods running this way for eternity. Yeah, he will be okay with these black young men and women who are committing these crimes to continue until they either are shot and killed, they grow up and they do something severe and get thrown in the slam. He would rather that happen. He would rather shield for the Democrats and the way they govern than to say, y'all governing suck. And your policies have encouraged these kids to be this way because you downplayed the crime. Yeah, this guy right here. And yet he's talking about his racial. Forget about protecting the black lives in those neighborhoods that are victims of these criminals. But yet it's racial. Yeah, Trump somehow, since he's dealing with a problem that unfortunately impacts a lot of young black adults who y'all allow to embarrass the black community, because that's what it looks like.
There's some kings in the building. Do your yourself and show some respect. There's gorillas in here, gorilla in here, gorillas in here, gorilla in here, gorillas in here, gorilla in here.